Alright, hey guys. So today's shave, I hope you guys are all doing well, is going to be going and building on to one of my last videos of we're going to be using Gentleman's Nod again. So the last Gentleman's Nod soap I used in a video was Juniper Revere or Reverie. I've heard people say it two different ways. I think it's Revere though, but who knows. Today's bold and banging, and I would say there's very few people in the community that would not say they liked, if not even loved, this scent from Gentleman Nod, and that is Musashi. And you can see that gorgeous label, and we do have the matching splash today. Now here's something interesting about this this particular tub of soap. So not just Musashi in general, oh, it's such a great scent, but this one is that the label is wrong on this one, and they didn't catch it, I guess, until after it got sent out in production, which is kind of interesting to me. I'm not talking any smack or anything, but it's interesting to me when people put a product out there and then they realize that the labeling was wrong once it's already sold off. Because, I don't know, as a business owner, that kind of leads me to believe that you're not getting pictures back of that finalized product for Q&A to make sure that it meets your expectations before you send it out. And I realize, like, if you're using the same label, say, on a soap, you're expecting it to be the exact same. But no matter what, when you're getting a product, there should still be another Q&A there. That's just a little rant on mine. I don't think this label is bad, though, the way it is. But it is not correct. And why isn't not correct is if you look at it, the whole thing is shiny. It's all foil. It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to match this. So the label should be only holographic in certain spots. Like on this one, you can see it's only on the red. On this one, though, it's everything except for the red. So it's reverse. And I do have, actually, which shouldn't surprise you guys because you guys know I have a lot of backups. I do have a backup of Musashi soap tub. And again, I think I got that one as a backup because, again, it was so cheap on the BST. Somebody used it once and didn't like it, so they wanted to move it. And it was a cheap enough price, and I'm like, oh, wow, like, and I don't know, don't quote me on it, but I think, like, Musashi right now, I think this is around 25 bucks for a 5-ounce tub. Gentleman's Nods tubs are 5 ounces. They are a little bit pricier than some other soaps, but they also are 5 ounces, and the soap base is phenomenal. This is the C4 base. But my other Musashi, the label is correct. And again, I don't think it's a big deal, but I do find it interesting that stuff like this, not only that it happens, but enough of them get out into the wild, and then the business owners are like, oh, we didn't realize. And it sounds like somebody's not doing Q&A checks then. But again, that's just, you know, my rant from me dealing with that kind of stuff in life. But still, great label, even if it is not supposed to be shiny like that. This is a bold and banging scent to me. This is a very bright scent. Yuzu is the fruit that comes out of this, very high. I do smell a little bit of the tea in the background. It's just an incredible spring-summer scent. This, could you wear this in the fall and the winter? I think you could, but I also think it's too bright. It's just such a citrus bright scent that I think most places for fall winter it wouldn't work. But it depends on where you live. You know, currently I full-time RV, and I've been doing it 5 years now nomadically, and I'm in North Florida right now. I just left Pensacola. Pensacola. I'm in Pensacola right now. I just left Key West. I was there for 3 months in the winter, and I can tell you that there in the winter, fall, winter, this scent would work because I was in shorts in the water in the winter in Key West. So if you're in somewhere tropical, this would still work in the winter. If you're like in the East Coast or somewhere cold, yeah, I don't think this would work. But then again, maybe you want something tropical to remind you of the summer, for all I know. I do have the matching EDP for this one as well. And on this one, unlike the Juniper Revere, this one actually does say Musashi on the side. And I actually really like that. I think it brings a unique little flair to the bottle, and it looks amazing. And it says Musashi too. I don't know if there was a Musashi #1, and this is the second variant of it. Again, nice top with a coin, plastic, sprays on Gentleman's Nod. The bottle, really nice, well done, feels good in the hand. The sprayer works great, no complaints there. We are still on that 1 week, one razor a week, so we're still using the Wolfman WR2, a 1.55 gap with a whiz mat in it, and its third use. The brush today is going to be one that I honestly, I just don't use it enough. So I decided I was going to pull it out, and it's going to be the Varlet brush. The pour on this is called Blue Hash. It's really pretty. It's like almost like a navy blue, maybe like a dark blue. And then as you can see, it has those little white hash marks in it. On the other side, it says Ranger. That is the name of this shape in particular. It says Alpine Grade 27XD. Alpine Grade is the grade of hair. To be honest, that's marketing. I have no idea what Alpine Grade hair means, and there's probably no such thing as Alpine Grade badger hair. Almost all badger hair comes from China. And to market it as if it comes from like the high Alps or like some kind of other stuff, it's just marketing. But the XD stands for extra dense. The Varlet has 2 density options, his high density and his extra dense. XD is more dense than the high density. Even the extra dense, it's still considered a low density option to me comparative to turn and shave, declaration grooming. I would even say it's probably lower density than a Simpson brush. And 27 is the millimeter of the knot. It's a 27 mil, and as you can see, it is jelly. Not overly done, but it is a jelly knot. My biggest complaint about this brush is that the knots always feel very small compared to how big they are. This 27, to me, personally, feels like more like around a 24 to a 26. As a head shaver, I like to have a bigger knot. So my only complaint is that the knot does feel small. I would say, though, it is nice to have for cleaning up on my beard. And we're going to go right into loading from the soap tub. That is the pour for you guys that like to see that. As you can see, it is a soft soap, but it's not a crope. This is my second Varlet. I have one other Varlet. Both of them I bought used. The other one is a 29 millimeter XD. It's in the same shape, but it is in a, I'm not sure what color white it is, but it's just white. I do have one more Varlet, actually. It's sitting in the post office. It's the weekend, it's Sunday. and I will pick up that Varlet tomorrow. It is also a 27 millimeter, so I hope it doesn't feel too small. It is the HD version, though. The handle is different. It's an Orion handle, and you can look that up to see what it looks like, or I'll probably have it in my next video. I have been wondering what the HD feels like as far as the knot goes compared to the XD to see which one is my preference. I know a lot of people personally that I talk to that have Varlets, they like the HD version. But I know a lot of people personally that like lower density knots. I usually prefer a little higher density knots. A good example of this is Turn Shave. He does the low, medium, and high density knots. I usually go for a high or a medium, and most people I know go for a lower medium. But I have started to think about maybe starting to go to more low density options with Turn and Shave. It's just hard though, because when I have knots like this that are low density, it makes me feel like I should go with a high density from Turn and Shave. And you can see we're just working it in back and forth motions, circular. I want to make sure I get a decent load in this brush. And this, again, the scent on this is just golden banging. Very bright. Very citrus forward. I do get a little bit of a tea vibe, but not a big tea vibe. There is, from my understanding, if I remember correctly, there is a green tea scent note in here. But it's not in the forefront of the scent to my nose. Let's just get some water, dripping it in there. Actually, the Varlet just opened up their custom list, which it looks like they only open it about twice a year now. Last time they had it open was November of 2023. And I got on there because I was kind of back and forth if I wanted to get on the wait list. For his wait list, you got to pay $300 deposit. And then the rest of the brush is due once he's done with it. And I was kind of back and forth on it because, not because I can't afford it, because I can afford it. I'm retired. I make quite a bit in passive income, not having to work at all. You know, my passive income's about $100,000 a year, and I usually living the nomadic lifestyle in my RV. Even in high cost of living places like Key West, San Diego, when I live there in the RV, I usually spend $40,000-ish a year to live. And you know, that's like me, that's gas, food, going out, spending money on shaving equipment. So I don't spend a whole lot of money. So my passive income's like $100,000 a year. So yeah, like, you know, the cost of the brush isn't really a big issue with somebody like me, but it's the weight. So you pay $300, and then it's a waiting game, and it looks like on average it's like 6 months to almost a year sometimes for this guy to make you a brush and get it back. Which, somebody like me, I have a lot of brushes, so I don't mind waiting. But my issue is, I've seen it where he'll take 7 months to get somebody their brush. He'll send it to them, and then it's off. the knot will be kind of janky looking, or the handle will be kind of janky looking. And I kind of just think to myself that if you're taking that long to make a brush, you should be really OCD about the brush, and it should be like perfect, and you should be sending a finalized photo and video to these customers, and then that way they could be like, oh, that knot looks a little off, what's up with that? And you could either explain it to them, or you could be like, yeah, you know what, you're right, you're not happy, let me redo that knot. Well, the one person I know that got a brush after like 7 months, the knot was really messed up from Varlet. And it was like very messed up. We're not talking about like a little messed up here. We're talking about like that thing should have never left the shop messed up. And the interesting thing is, the owner, Aldo, was like, oh yeah, you're right, it is messed up. And I'm thinking to myself, like, yeah, no shit, it's messed up. Like, why? Where, again, like, it goes back to where was, like, who is looking at that knot and saying, okay, yeah, this is good enough. You know, the customer only had to wait 7 months for this. Like, we're good. And mind you, the deposit's $300. Most of his brushes are about $450 to upwards of $550, depending on the size of the knot, depending on what pour you want, and things like that. I think the cheapest I've seen, though, from him brand new is about $450-ish. Maybe a little less, maybe around $400. So you're paying $400, waiting 700, waiting 7 months, and then like the best you got was a wonky knot coming out. Like, that's just really bad business practice to me. That shows me that that person really probably doesn't care about the customer as much as they should. Because it's not a big business, right? Like big factory businesses, things that you buy on Amazon and shit like that. I get it, right? There's a reason why things can get wonky, because it's being built in a factory, mass produced. But we're talking about handmade brushes. We're paying a premium for something to be very detailed and perfect. And you're sending somebody an unperfect knot. That's just really shitty, in my opinion. Well, this person sent it back to Aldo because he agreed, oh yeah, man, that knot looks like crap, basically. I should never have sent it out. And I think, don't quote me on this, but I want to say it took Aldo like 6 months, man. 6 months to fix this knot. 6 months. Like, it's a knot, brother. Like, I don't care if you have a full-time job or not. It shouldn't take you 6 months to fix somebody's knot that they already paid full price for. And on top of that, I kind of think if you fuck up somebody's knot like that and then you're taking 6 months, you should at least give them like a 10-15% discount or something. And then he sent it back to this individual, and I think that's really good. And it could still use, actually, you know what? We're going to go a little bit more water. Remember what I was saying in that last video of C4 can take a heck of a lot of water? This base can take water like it's going out of style, man. But look at that. I will say, so I'm going to put down the rant for a few seconds, and we're going to go into the scent. Scent on this, it opens up. It's bold and banging off the puck, and it's even more bold and banging on the head right now. So I would say that this is easily a 7 out of 10 for scent strength. And I would even maybe consider it closer to an 8. This is a love scent for me. Not only would I buy it again, I would buy it when it runs out. But going back to the brush. So then he sends it back in 6 months, supposedly fixed. It gets back, and the knot is still a little off. It's still a little wonky looking. It's not perfectly straight. Drinking today a little Nacet green machine juice. And the guy then emails Aldo pictures and is like, dude, the knot still is, it's still off, man. Like, what the heck? And then you know what Aldo does? He tells the customer that you're being too nitpicky. This is after it taking a year to get this brush. And don't quote me on this. This is about, right? We're talking about a year, right? Because it took about 6 months for him to get the brush. Aldo agreed that the first brush he sent out, the knot was messed up and it shouldn't have been. I don't think he got a discount, even though the guy admitted that it was wrong. But, like, see, that's my issue, right? Like, but I've been wanting a big Varlet. So Varlet does a 32 millimeter knot. And me being a head shaver, I like big knots because it feels really good. You know, shaving this part of your face right here, a big knot could probably get in the way. You know, that makes sense. But having a whole dome of a head, having a big knot feels great, and it like works to your advantage, right? And once I found out that Varlet does a 32 millimeter knot, if you get a custom, I've been wanting to get on his custom list. And then once I heard it open, I was like, oh, heck yeah. But then I also was kind of hesitant because of knowing that guy and what happened to him. And I kind of was starting to think to myself, man, do I want to, because mind you, Varlet, if you look at their website, 32 millimeter brushes start off at 515 bucks. Right, so no matter what else I get on that brush, if it's nothing else, if it's just super basic, it's 515 bucks with no tax or anything. But me, I'm not going to get a basic brush, right? I'm going to try to get something really nice looking. Something kind of, in my idea of go big or go home type of ordeal, right? Because if I'm spending 515 bucks, I'm okay spending another 100, 200 bucks to get something like really good. Like, you know, this is a really nice handle. I love this blue hash. I wouldn't do the blue hash for my 32 because I already have one. And I'm not saying my basic white Varlet is shitty or anything, because it's a great knot, and I love the handle and how it feels, and it looks great, right? It looks kind of vintage, it looks clean, but at the same time, it's just a white handle. And if I'm getting a custom, I want it to be something unique, right? I don't want to get a custom brush just for it to be a plain white handle. Because I already have a plain white Varlet, if that makes sense. So, you know, I'm not making fun of anybody that has a Varlet that has just a white handle as a custom. But my fear was I would spend, you know, 600 and some bucks in getting this custom. And then come 6-7 months later, it gets to me and it's messed up. And then I'm waiting another 6 or 7 months. And that just sounds like a painful process to me, right? And on top of that, it's a little different for me than it is for most of you. And the reason is because, again, I'm nomadic, right? So, you know, most people, they're just having that brush mailed to their house, their apartment, their condo, and there's no issues, right? With me, I'm on the road. So I do have a mail service out of where my residency is, which my residency is Key West. My mom lives in Key West, and that's why my residency is in Key West. I have a postal box in Key West, so I can mail stuff to that postal box. We're going on round 2, cross the grain. And then what I can do is I pay a monthly fee for that, but then on top of that, that business could then send me that package, right? So if I get something mailed to Key West to them, I then, not only do I pay that monthly fee, but I have to pay them to mail it to me. And depending on the size of the box, the contents, where I'm at, and what service, whether I have them mail at FedEx, USPS, or UPS, you got to pay extra to do that, right? And that just becomes a pain in the butt. And I've had to do that a couple times while on the road. And it can be a pain in the butt because it can get expensive. Like, I just had a box with a few packages in it, so they'll put everything in one little box, and I had it shipped to me, and it was like 25 or 30 bucks. And again, I can afford it, you know, it's not that big of an issue. But the other factor in that is, where do you have it shipped to? So right now, I'm in an RV park. So typically, what I would have to do then is I'd have to have that package shipped then from Key West to the RV park on that, right? Well, then not only are you paying the fee, then you're waiting a couple more days, right? For it to get to you. There's also the higher probability, if it wasn't packaged really well, that there's more chances of it either A, getting lost in the mail, right, or B, getting broken on the way to you. And on top of that, not every RV park accepts packages. So the one I'm at right now, it's pretty good actually. They'll accept UPS and they'll accept FedEx packages. But USPS, so the post office, doesn't deliver to this park, RV park. I'm not sure why that is, but they won't. So USPS will not deliver to this RV park. So if I get a USPS package here, where I'm currently at in Pensacola, Florida, what I have to do is I have to get that package labeled general delivery for myself and have it sent to the post office here. Well, not every post office accepts general delivery packages. So here in Pensacola, out of the 3 or 4 post offices that's here in the county, and even the county next door in Alabama, there's only one that accepts general delivery packages. And that one, it's a little bit of a drive for me. It's about a 30-minute drive from my RV park. I've stayed at some RV parks that won't accept any packages. And I don't mean accept like I'm having that package dropped off at the RV office. I'm having it dropped off at my RV site, you know. I rent a spot. There's spots, you know. Some RV parks have 200 spots, some have 50, right? This one has like, I think about 200 spots that I'm currently at. Going at round 3. And see, even though I complained about how small this knot is, it actually, it's not really as bad as I make it out to seem. I'm just used to now having a few bigger knots, like some of my turn and shave knots where they're like a 29 and 28, that it just feels nice having a bigger knot. We're going to go back to the puck. And the reason I'm doing that is because after this head shave, I think I'm going to clean up my beard a little bit. And one interesting thing about the beard is what I've found is it's actually really hard to build a lather just on your face when you have beard hair. So I have found that either my best bet for cleaning up my beard is to do it right after a head shave when I already have the lather built up in this brush, or any brush that I'm using, should I say. Or if I'm not, you know, if I've already shaved my head and I forgot to clean up my beard, or maybe that day I'm not shaving my head, then it's to bowl lather. And I think that's good. Put some more water in there. But yeah, that was, you know, that's the big thing. It's not just, I'm afraid that this brush is going to come back after 6 months and be shitty. And then the owner of the business is just going to be like, oh, whatever, dude. But I'm also afraid, it's just such a pain in the ass with shipping shit for me. That, like, it has to be worth it. So I was back and forth on it. And, you know, I didn't want to rush because I'm also trying to downsize my collection of shaving stuff because I don't need as much as I have. But that Varlet's one of those brushes that I've been wanting for about a year. A nice big Varlet brush. Because if I got that, I'm like, oh, you know, it'll push me into getting rid of like 2 or 3 more brushes that I don't use enough. Or maybe even I would just get rid of this Varlet and keep that one. So the more I thought about it, the more I was unsure. And I think I've said it before in some of my videos, but I'm a very indecisive person a lot of times with certain things. You know, when it comes to finances, on some topics, I'm really not at all. And on other topics, I am. Especially when it comes to spending money. And it's not so much like it's a cost issue with me. Like I said, I make a lot of money. Being retired without working a job, that money is not really a concern. But it's, at the same time, I spent a lot of years working a W-2 job. I spent a lot of years investing my money very well, very efficiently, to where now I don't have to work for a living, right? And that's the reason why everybody is eventually going to be able to retire, right? Everybody eventually has to retire. And hopefully everybody invested their money well throughout their life in a way that allows them to retire in a nice, comfortable lifestyle, right? Where they're not poor, that they can afford to do the fun things they want to do. So now it's just, I want to make sure when I spend my money that I'm getting a good value out of it. And it's something I've been working on because I do need to really get better at that, because you're not going to be able to use all your money efficiently in life. There's nothing that's perfectly efficient, right? No business. You know, it's kind of like a good analogy of that is recycling, right? Recycling is great for the world. It's great for the environment, but recycling is not 100% efficient, right? I think the stats are, don't quote me on it, you can look it up yourself, but I want to say something like 75 to 80% of the stuff that you recycle actually can be recycled. the other 25 to 20% can't actually be recycled and ends up just going in landfills. That's kind of a perfect example of what I'm talking about. That there's really nothing that's completely 100% efficient in this world. Okay, this one we're going to go. On the top of my head, I actually never go against the grain. I only go across. And I don't know, you know, I see a lot of head shavers that do go against. And no matter how smooth or how, you know, because it's a very efficient razor, but even if I went with a less efficient, less aggressive razor, I still can't, it's not comfortable to me to go against the grain on top of my head. And one, I know that the skin on the top of your head is the thinnest. So that could be one reason, but I think another thing is, as a head shaver, I have hair up there. I'm not bald, right? Like, I mean, I have, I guess, a little bit of receding hair, but I have a full head of hair. I shave my head because I like it. I started shaving my head in the Marine Corps at one of my assignments just because I didn't have enough time to go get haircuts. That was when I was a drill instructor. And then it just kind of stuck with me, even after I left the depot and was no longer a drill instructor, so I actually had time to go get haircuts. I just kept shaving my head. Because I found it to be just easier than going to get a haircut. And I found it easier in the mornings than having to put product in my hair and do all kinds of crazy stuff. I have thought about growing my hair back out, though. Just because it's been so many years since I've had hair that I'm kind of interested to see what it would look like. And especially because, you know, I was in the Marine Corps, so I was in the military for the last 20 years. And so in the Marine Corps, you're not really allowed to have long hair at all. It's part of our regulations. And I'm kind of been curious what I would look like with long hair, because even before I joined the military, in high school, I had short hair back then. Back when I went to high school, I graduated in 2004. There was the trend back then was shorter haircuts. I know nowadays a lot of high schoolers and teenagers, and even college kids, have longer hair. Back then, like, everybody I went to high school with had shorter hair. So I've never had long hair. So I've been interested. Same thing. I never had a beard until I retired from the Marine Corps, because we're not allowed to have beards. At least full-grown beards like this. You could have like a little tiny Hitler-looking mustache. So that's why I decided to grow out my beard when I retired, because I was interested to see what it looks like. And I like it, but it does take quite a bit of maintenance, right? It's kind of like the head of hair. But anyways, that was 3 passes. That was phenomenal, guys. So I've been talking about it in my last couple videos, and I keep forgetting to bring it out of the bathroom. Today we are going to use it, though. It's the Thayer's, and it says facial toner. It's witch hazel, but you can use it, you know, anywhere you shave. So if you shave chest, you can use it on your chest, arms, head. And I just use a little spritz, put it in between my head. And they make different scents. Like this one is lavender, but I just picked this one up because it was the first one I saw when I bought it like well over a year ago, and you can see I've used quite a bit of it. But luckily, the scent is not strong. So, because, you know, like, you're using a lavender with Musashi, is that going to mess it up? It doesn't. I can't even smell the lavender right now. All I can smell is the beautiful Musashi. Okay, that was really nice. So next, now I'd like to give that a few seconds to dry, and it dries really quick. And even now, my head feels very supple. And that's the C4 base, man. It's a good base. It does require a lot of water, though. Very thirsty. It's going to take a little bit of time to work it up. So I would not say that it is a super user-friendly base. It's not super difficult, but it's not as user-friendly as a lot of other bases I've seen. That one definitely takes some time to me to really dial that hydration in, and it takes a lot of water, so you got to be willing to work with it. But if you're willing to put that little bit of work, C4 from Gentleman's Nod is a great, phenomenal base. Now we're going to go with the Splash to follow it up. And you can see I've used quite a bit of that Splash, actually. Oh, yeah. The Splash, I would say, is very similar, if not exact match to the soap. Sometimes splashes become a little different. And even the EDP could be a little different than the soap or the splash. This one is very, very similar. Very citrus, like, it's like you get that bold, bitter yuzu citrus, and I love it. And that feels great. Like, my head feels so freaking great right now. Man, that feels good. So let's do a quick recap, and then off camera, I'm going to try to clean up the facial beard. So today for our razor, we used the Wolfman WR2 1.55 gap. This is its third use. I'll probably be my final use because I'm also going to do the beard cleanup real quick with it. So it'll be dead after that. The brush of choice today was this gorgeous Varlet 27mm XD with the blue hash ranger handle. Really great knot. Little jelly, but not overly done. Varlets, both of my Varlets do have a little bit of gel in them, but again, not overly done. They are very low dense, whether it's the XD, and the HD is supposed to be even less dense than this, and this XD is really low density. For the soap today, we used Gentleman's Nod Musashi and the matching splash. And again, off camera, I will be using the EDP of Musashi. We also did use a little Thayer's Witch Hazel toner. And again, I like using this. Like I said in my other videos, I just didn't use it in those videos because I forgot to bring it out. But I like to use this because I really feel like it helps with that inflammation. It just makes my skin feel less irritated, soother. Especially now that I don't shave my face every day. I have noticed that sometimes I'll start to get a little bit of irritation depending on how often I shave my neck, and this really helps a lot with that. I hope you guys all have a good one, and I'll catch you on the next video.